Hello, 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 hello. This
Hey,
is
Brittany.
Hey Megan. This is Brittany, your host today with Truth Be Told podcast. I'm so glad that you're on today. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's Super Bowl Sunday. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I don't really care too much for either team. I'm mostly there for the halftime show.
Yeah.
I feel like it was created for our generation,
It
basically.
is. They have a great lineup this year. That's what
Yeah.
I was telling my husband. I was like, oh my gosh, did you see who was going to be in the Super Bowl like halftime show? Yeah. Good way. I mean, it is a pandemic, so most of us are probably home or maybe at a bar somewhere close.
Maybe not me. I try to get to bed early.
Me too. Me too. But today I'm not going to take up most of your time. I just wanted to let the audience know how lovely you are. I do see that you're on a social hiatus. So thank you. I didn't know that. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. But I bet it's like really needed. So
It
thank
is. It's
thank you.
it's definitely an experience. I think it's something that everyone should do at some point, whatever your hiatus length is.
Right.
A friend of ours, Sean Croxton, had told me, he's like, "Oh my gosh, Megan, you're gonna love it." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I think I'll like it, but I don't like love is kind of a strong word here."
Right,
And
right.
let me tell you though, I love it. I do. I have gotten so much done. I've done a lot of like introspective work too without so much other unneeded information coming my way.
Right.
So it's been a really amazing experience that I highly, highly suggest to everyone.
Well, I'll make sure and follow up with you because I do have some questions because I'm excited to know more about that. I've always wanted to do that. And then I always want to ask, like, how do you do that and do your business? But I guess the business take care of itself.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, so much of people's businesses they think need to be online, and there are some that are strictly online. But I made a decision that I wanted to focus my efforts a little bit more locally with moms.
Right.
And so there is still some social media in there, but there's also a way to do it where you're producing more and still getting your content out there without consuming all this information that you don't really need. So there
Right.
there is a way to have both. And through this process I've realized that yeah, I'm going to go back to social media, but I'm definitely going to be using it more as a tool to get my message out and help people rather than to sit there, consume and scroll on
Entertainment.
my phone.
Right. 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 I'm glad you said that because this episode is actually episode number 8 and it's called Managing Your Emotions, the mom edition. And I was like, why not get Miss Megan on here because she's awesome at it. Um, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself and exactly what you're doing with moms right now as far as your podcast and everything.
Yeah, of course. So I am Megan and I'm a mom success coach and podcaster for all you mama. So I help moms create lives that they love as mom, in quotes, and also as an individual without the mom guilt associated with it, because all moms know that there's some guilt involved. When we're working, we're wishing we were with our kids. When we're with our kids, we think we should be working, and there's just always this sense of guilt. And so, how can you create a life that you enjoy in all
Right.
areas? Because it is possible. It's not possible to, I think, have it all. You can't give 100% in every single area of your life, but I think that you really can enjoy every area of your life and enjoy the time that you're in right then.
Right. Do you really think that not just moms, anybody can not have it all? Like, as you said, like be 100% in every area, but they can manage those emotions along in those areas.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the whole have it all. I think it's a little bit more on moms specifically, to you can create your own business, you can work full time, and you can still be this awesome mom and be on the PTA and, soccer mom. Like you should be able to do it all. And nobody can do all of that, whether you're a mom or not. You
Right.
can't. Everyone needs some help. whether, it's help from your partner or your family or outside hired help. Everybody needs help in most areas of their lives. We're a species that are meant to survive within our tribe, with our people, because in the old days, if you were out on your own, you were pretty much getting eaten by something, right? So so in the same sense, if you're trying to do it all yourself, like, you're just going to get eaten alive, right? You're not going to be enjoying everything that you do. So I think the whole have it all is false. I've tried it. I've very much tried it. And I really ended up feeling like I was half-assing everything in my life. I'm like, I'm not doing what I want as a coach. I'm not doing what I need to be doing for my job, my part-time job that I had. And I don't feel like I'm being the best mom that I can be either. So when you're trying to be the best at everything, you end up just kind of half-assing everything.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because you said, like, as a mom, we're always trying to be 100% in every area, and we don't take the time to necessarily breathe and work through whatever we need to work through, and not feel that mom guilt, and learn to manage those emotions. As I was thinking about this episode, I was like, okay, the episode before, it was called Setting Boundaries. And as moms, we have to learn how to set boundaries. But I feel like the root of everything, not even just with moms, in your business, in your personal life, if you can't manage your emotions, then how can you go forward and be productive in those areas? It shows a lot. It shows a lot, not just as a mom, but in your business and in your money.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's kind of like twofold, especially managing your emotions as a mom. And I'm by no means perfect in this. I mean, I lost my stuff on my kid and my husband earlier today. So I'm not saying I'm the all to end all on managing emotions. We're all a work in progress here. But when my kids see that, it's not only affecting me, but it's affecting my kids. As much as we want to say, do as I say, I want to teach my kids, they're always going to do what you do, right? You see them do something over there and you're like, oh my gosh, that is because of me. So being able to recognize your emotions and manage your emotions as a parent, as a mom, is so important, because it has such a greater effect than just on you and your life. And for moms specifically, I think it comes down to a lot of just being quiet and listening to yourself. Because so many moms, they just don't think that they deserve things, right? They don't think that they're worth it. We'll spend all this money on our kids for classes or shoes or whatever it is that your kid's interested in, but it comes time to spending money on yourself and you're like, I don't know about that. I don't know if it's worth it. Maybe later.
Right. We always put ourselves last.
Exactly. And that comes down to like a confidence and like emotion thing, like really thinking that, like, I deserve it. I deserve to be as important participant in my family as every other person in there.
Right. And I want to say, I don't want to cut you off, but I want to bring up a point you were saying, as far as it brings up self-confidence in a woman. But then it also, you were looking at your kid earlier, you said you lost it. And I love that. I love the realness, because like you said, none of us have it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, like that. We actually don't lose it on those days, but it's okay to lose it. That's the thing. Like, it's learning to manage that and compartmentalize it and put it into certain sections. And I think it goes back even further than us, Megan. Like, I think it goes back to our roots. What were you taught when you were little?
Yeah.
How were you learned to manage your emotions as little Megan?
Yeah. I read this fantastic book called It Didn't Start With You. And it is this great book that just kind of goes through like your family history and gets you kind of thinking about your family history, things that you learned. And, we're all going to mess up our kids. no matter
Right.
how great of a life we give them,
Right.
something's going to be messed up, or there's going to be something in their adult life that they want to change. But it also gave this perspective to me of like looking at my parents and my grandparents and what they went through and how those things were passed on to them.
Right.
And so that gave me a little empathy towards their situations, and also gave me the choice, being like, okay, well, now I get to choose if I want that to stop here and give my kids something different, show my kids something different than what I had. So I highly recommend that book to all moms, because you could be like, oh, my parents did this, so I'm going to do this a totally different way.
Oh
Right.
my
And so
gosh. Tell me the name of that book again.
it's called It Didn't Start With You.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to check it out, and I'll have to get it from you.
Yeah.
I'll probably send you an email, and I'll see you soon in book club. I was going to say that I am so glad that I found you guys, because in book club, you were one of the ones, and still are one of the ones that, well, I love all of you guys, but like, I was like, I gotta see Meghan. I gotta go meet Meghan, because for one, we're so close, Raleigh, High Point. And I said, well, gosh, it's just your spirit. And I love that you share your story on, social media as a mom, showing all types of ways that we are, whether it's right, wrong, in the moment. I think that the most important thing that you said was that you had empathy, and that you were self-aware of what your parents and your grandparents were taught, because pretty much all it did was go down the line. But what you're doing is stopping generational curses with you, and making sure that now that because I know with me, I talk to my daughter, my oldest, a lot. She's at the age, she's 14. And I let her know, she sees certain stuff. She's seen it all. She was my first, so she's been riding with me for a while. And it was a lot of stuff that I didn't do as far as with co-parenting with her dad. That now that I'm more self-aware of managing my feelings and looking back at that, I'm like, okay, yeah, it was his fault, but it was my fault too, because I was young and I didn't know how to deal with all of that. I wasn't really supposed to be dealing with all of that. What can you say to younger girls that are learning their self, and moms who are dealing with like teenagers, as far as learning to manage those emotions and things like that?
So I don't have as much experience with teenagers. I have a tiny bit of experience with teenagers. I will say that we have an exchange student that's staying with us who's 17. So I do have a little taste of teenage life, but I'm not fully in it. My oldest is 4.5. But I think the number one thing that I have learned as far as emotions go is taking responsibility, personal responsibility. And kind of the story that you gave with the co-parenting just sparked that up, because I don't know your situation, but no matter what happens, there's two people in the situation, right? So you have some responsibility in it because you're in the situation, and you can't blame everything on the other person, because then you give up all of your control. You give up all of your emotions, everything, to that other person or that situation. When you take responsibility and say, hey, I had this hand in it, and this is what I can do, and this is how I can change, and this is how I can do better moving forward, that's when you can really manage emotions. That's when you really have control of your life and control of your future, because there's always going to be these outside factors and people, and you can't control them. And you're going to drive yourself insane trying to do that, because I've done it before. I know it's because I've done it before, right? Like, even just like in the argument with my husband, I was like, well, you did this and you made me feel this way. And then I was like, okay, Meghan, all right. First of all, I lost it and I apologize for that. That's totally on me. Like, that was my fault. And you can't make me feel anyway. Like, I make myself feel a certain way. And, just taking that control and taking that responsibility myself, I'm
That
able to manage
ownership.
my emotions, whereas I'm sure you spent some time playing the blame game, and then you have no control and you're just angry, you're blaming somebody, and then there's all these other people that are just pissed off, and then like, what fun is that?
Right. I really do, Megan. I met my child's dad. I was 14. Well, I probably met him a little earlier than that, but I got involved with him at 14.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what to do as a 14-year-old?
Yeah.
I mean, and you couldn't tell me nothing. All I seen was him. It didn't matter. And he was the worst of the worst. I mean, the only thing he didn't do was hit me. I went through everything else, and I stayed in it. And then I became bitter. And then one day, like, when you're just listening, I used to listen to a lot of inspirational, and before I met you guys, I'm always on inspirational and things like that. But I knew I needed something deeper. I was like, something's missing. Like, I'm not understanding these emotions. I'm not understanding why I act like that when I'm trying to co-parent with him. When he's wrong, like, it's nothing. Like I said, I was playing victim. I was blame game. Even though, I mean, he could have did something. No, it's not he could have, Megan, he did. So I could talk to you for hours of that, but I'm just so thankful that I learned to like grow up and be self-aware of those emotions and deal with them as a parent, because I had to parent her. I still have to parent her and her siblings, and now I'm married, and then, it's always more as a woman, let alone we're always tackling on so many responsibilities.
Yeah. And I mean, our kids, like, mom's number one. If mom is around, like, you are the biggest influence on your child. Like, you spend the most time with them. They were with you if you gave birth to them 9 months before anybody else, so it's setting that example, it's that being, it's the, do as I do. And so when I lose my stuff or whatever, it's then I take responsibility, and I make sure if it's in front of my kids see me take responsibility. And I say, like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, mommy had really big emotions there and I took it out on you, and I apologize. And in the future, I'm not going to do that. I will try my best not to do that. And depending on the age of your kids, you can get more detailed with the emotions and the specifics that you're going to do, because especially with teenagers, I think it's all about, not all about, but being real with them and showing them that personal responsibility. Because if you're just going to blame them and say, hey, like, you have all these hormones and you're losing it over there and you're yelling and I'm just trying to stay calm, and you're not taking any responsibility, then what's going to happen the next time is they're going to look at you and be like, mom, you were losing it.
Right.
All of your hormones. I don't know what's going on with you. So when you take that responsibility, then that's what they learn too.
Right.
In working with moms, like, most moms, we want the best for our kids. We want our kids to be happy, and we want our kids to go out there and be successful in life. But the only way that they can do that is if we set that example for them.
That's true.
So if you aren't happy, if you aren't doing the things that you want to do, if you're just going through the motions of life, that's what your children are going to see. And so it's just, I mean, as cut and dry as it sounds, it's like, it's being the example. Like, you want your kids to be happy? Be happy. You want your kids to be successful? Be successful.
Be the
whatever it
example.
is, it starts with you, because once again, what can I control? I can control me. I can't really control my kids as much as you'd like to, especially I'm sure, having a teenager, you can't control her, right?
No.
So,
I wish men were like us. Don't you? Like, how we're always like, I'm sorry, we're so self-aware. They will not. I mean, I'm not going to categorize every man, but they will not come and apologize.
yeah, I mean, I think, again, it starts, if you're doing that too, if you're setting that boundary and you're showing that to the people that are around you, you'll be surprised.
Right.
how some people, I'm not going to say all because some people don't want to change, but some people will start changing. And those that don't, I mean, if you don't necessarily need them in your life, then maybe it's time to let it go, or, limit that time with them.
It's so funny you said that, because when I was starting with you guys, Marissa was telling me, I was talking to her about managing my emotions and getting on here with you guys and getting so vulnerable. Just really sometimes it's hard for me to kind of vocalize that. I come in here and I listen to you guys, but then I'm like, okay, Brittany, you need to start leading and start answering questions and start telling your story. And I was telling her, like, my husband, I was like, he listens, but I was scared because of the growth and everything that I'm learning. I didn't want to leave him. I was like, is he going to go another way? Like, is he going to get tired of all of this that I'm spilling on him? But the reason I said that was because what you just said, as far as you'll be surprised at what they listen to, because now he like embraces it. He listens. He actually, we're starting to learn how to listen to each other instead of arguing with each other. Or if I get to not be able to, you know what I'm saying, as far as if I can't, because my emotion at that point just won't allow me to talk to him, I know, okay, Brittany, you just need to breathe, take a second and come back, because I don't think you want to hear what I have to say right now.
Yeah, that breathing point, like I tell myself that all the time, especially with kids, with significant others. It's just, I'm like, okay, always like take a breath before you say something. Just take a breath before you say anything.
Right. So how do you manage? I know you did I'm so thankful for the different examples you've been giving us as far as being a mom, managing your emotions as a mom. How do you manage your kids' emotions? Because you said you had, how many do you have now?
I have 2 kids. I have 2 boys, 4.5 and 2.
Oh, wow. They're close.
Yeah.
And so how do you manage their emotion as far as being a boy, being a girl, as far as one feeling, or you feeling guilt because you might be coddling the one more than the other, as a mom, how do you continue to tell moms going forward to deal with those different types of emotions within their kids, depending on, each mom?
I mean, each kid's emotions are all different, like one may be more sensitive, one may not. And I think it's just like acknowledging those emotions. And especially with younger kids, like putting a name to it. Wow. Like, I see that you're really sad right now, or I see that you're really frustrated right now. And just kind of allowing them to have those emotions. Because what's actually really interesting is kids manage their emotions so much better than adults. Right? Okay. So think about it, right? Like, my younger kid steals the toy from my 4-year-old. Wow. My 4-year-old starts losing it, screaming, whatever. It's like yelling at him, pounding his fists. He comes back over. The 2-year-old brings the toy back over. They sit down and they start playing, and they're good. Right? That's how kids work, because they allow the emotions to work through them. The thing with adults is we keep telling ourselves, you're okay, or don't cry, keep it in, stay strong, whatever it is. And we don't let emotions play out. Right. And that's when we end up losing it, right? Those are those times, because it's all this pent up stuff that we've never let these emotions actually flow through us. So in my opinion, kids actually got this down a lot more than we do. And then, you get into society and it's not really okay for me to throw a temper tantrum in the middle of a grocery store. Right. So I'm not able to release all of my emotions at that time, but allowing yourself that time to release those emotions, like in so many different ways. Like if someone pisses you off, like write a note, like you're writing it to them. Right. And say what they did, why you're angry. And then just rip it up, get rid of it. Grab your kid's plastic baseball bat, hit some pillows, grab a pillow in your closet and just like go at it, punch at it. Like, they sound weird. It sounds a little crazy. It is. You'll probably feel a little crazy, but I assure you, you will feel better
Right.
by the end. And you're not bringing other people into this situation. You're taking that personal responsibility. I'm not putting it on my partner, on my kids, and taking it out on them, but I'm allowing those emotions to flow through, because when you don't, when they get stuck, that's when you have those big outbursts too.
Right. Right. I'm so glad that you came on here today, Meghan, and that you explained to the audience how important it is to, definitely as a mom, this is definitely the mom edition, managing your emotions. Like I said, we could talk about that in so many different areas because it goes over into every different area of your life. If you don't manage your emotions, what you can't do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the main things, not only for moms, but for everybody, is one, like,
Right.
just quiet for a little while. Like, I started meditating every morning, and it has, like, honestly just been a world of difference for me. And for moms, I always suggest it for moms: meditate, some kind of quiet time, something for you before your kids wake up, because then you kind of get that, proverbial fill your cup first, get that time for yourself first. And also, working those emotions through. I am big on, like, I think everyone should have like a therapist or a coach, somebody that you can talk to, and somebody that isn't in that situation, that's just listen, because that's how you can work through those emotions too. And those are two of my biggest ones, just get some quiet, get a therapist or a coach, and and be intentional. That's one I learned, this one in book club, especially through, what was it, High Performance Habits, is be intentional. So every single morning I ask myself, how do I want to feel, and how do I want to make others feel? And just asking myself that and being intentional with how I want to show up that day helps me manage those emotions, because I'm going into the day thinking, hey, I want to be joyful. I want to be grateful. I want to be excited. I want to be energetic. Nobody's going to say, oh, today I want to be like really lazy and I be a Debbie Downer,
Right.
like, no, that's not anyone's intention. But when you don't have that intention set and something comes up, like my kids wake up in a horrible mood and they're just screaming, then all of a sudden I take on that energy, and that's my emotions. And I'm having a tougher time dictating what emotions that I want, because I haven't been intentional about the emotions that I want to feel.
I love it. I love it all. They need to hear this. This is what we need to be talking about, like all over. We need to learn how to manage our emotions. I think you pretty much said it all. And I knew you would. I'm like, okay, Megan's gonna wrap it up and she's gonna let you know, get out your feelings, be self-aware, let it flow, and just go kick your butt and be.
Definitely. Well, I am so happy that you created this podcast, because as you said before, every time that you would talk in book club, like, I would get so excited, because the way that you speak and the way that you share your story and how open that you are, it's like, it helped me so much. And I know that with this platform, you are going to be able to help so many more people. And I am just so excited to see who you help and how you grow, and just listening to more of your story.
Thank you.
Because I love it.
Thank you. Welcome. I know you'll tell me the truth. Thank you so much, Meghan. I appreciate everything you've done and what you keep being you. Keep spreading that positivity, everything that you're doing in book club, because, and not just book club, I know you have 1,000 things going on. It's just amazing. It's amazing. So I just appreciate you taking the time to come talk on my platform today. I'm going to sign out. This is episode 8, Managing Your Emotions with Meghan. I'm your host, Brittany. You guys have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.